We're going to sit down with the head of the Intelligent Systems Lab at UNLV to learn more about how machine learning is going to affect the future of human dynamics, behavioral modeling, biological medicine, and much more. The fish are going to run away from the high temperature?
I don't read it. I just click yes.
You don't have an Alexa there? You need an Alexa there.
It popped up. It's my algorithm.
Magic mango.
So a smart sim.
They did not pay you.
He's real.
No way.
Whatever happened in life, do the best you can.
Bayu, thank you for coming out. We are so excited to learn about machine learning, but first we need to know what it is. What is machine learning?
So in general, machine learning has three parts. One is called supervised learning. That means when we were a kid, we were trained how to distinguish an apple or a banana. So now instead of teach human to do that, we teach an algorithm to distinguish an apple or banana.
I see.
Right, so we'd be taking a bunch of photographs of different animals, right? Or of different fruits, and then you would be training it to distinguish the difference.
Yes. Then the second part of machine learning is called unsupervised learning. That means we don't have labels. There is no label whether this is an apple or banana, but we need to find a similarity and clustering them into different groups. So when we were a kid, we trained how to put different shapes into different groups, like rectangle, triangle. But now we teach an algorithm to group them into different groups.
Yeah, but like a child, you can say, hey, you got it wrong or you got it right. How do you tell the machine something similar?
Yeah, so that is called the measures. So we have different measures like the accuracy, error, or that means we have the ground truth data. Like we already know, for example, the supervised learning, we already know this is an apple or banana or not. We label it by human or something. So one interesting thing is when you open a website, sometimes it say, it seems you are not a human. Could you do the foreign test, right?
Oh,
Try to log into
The
TikTok.
box?
Let's see that one. That one's or can you just fill those out for fun?
TikTok. You can log in on TikTok on a desktop?
Yeah,
Yes,
but
you
it gives you
can.
the craziest, I don't know if you have the login, but it does the craziest thing. It tries to make you like twist a donut thing until two shapes come together. I wonder if there's a website. Is there a website where you can just do captchas for fun? Maybe just Google captchas for fun.
Captions for fun. Oh, yeah.
I think they're called captchas, right?
I don't know, but actually
okay.
we are doing manually for them to label all these objects. They will say, they will give you 9 pictures, right? Say which one is a bridge, right? So you click 3 or 4. You are doing the free label for them to collect the data.
What do you mean for free? They should.
They did not pay
They should
you,
pay me. Here, have you got paid for captchas filling?
Not at all. I pay for Wi-Fi, so that should be enough.
So I think about that when I'm logging in and it says label a car or a bus. I'm teaching my car how to drive, right?
Yeah. So we are all used for free.
Yeah,
labeling
those
for
things.
Goodness
Yes,
me.
yes. So that is called ground truth data because it's labeled by humans. Now, for example, you label these are cars and the ground truth data are cars. Then machine say, oh, this is a bicycle. So this will be the measure we say there is an error. So we are all using for free to do all this hard work.
Oh my gosh.
Free? Oh, my God.
So does all that data go to your lab? Are you using that?
We don't do that. We use publicly available data, so we don't have any.
Gotcha. Okay. So there's some data that's labeled, some data that's not labeled. Those are the two categories?
Yeah, for machine learning. The third part is called reinforcement learning, which is very different compared with supervised or unsupervised because it is about a sequence of decision making. So when you are working right from here to your company, when you are working, you make each decision like going outside of your front door, going to the elevator, going downstairs, turn left, turn right. This is a sequence decision making, and we call it reinforcement learning.
Okay. So there's unlabeled, labeled, and then sequenced labeled. Those are the three categories. That would be reinforcement.
Yeah, sequence decision making. Usually when we say labels, usually only for supervised learning.
Okay, gotcha. Got the terminology a little wrong. So does that make sense to you, the three categories?
Right,
It
but
does.
it's not, like she said, it's not 3, right? Like it's, the separate one is, the 2 are the labeled, and then the other one is
It's
separate,
sequence.
right? Sequence.
I think the first one is supervised learning means labeled. Unsupervised means not labeled. Then the sequence decision making.
Oh, got it.
Which one's your favorite?
Mine?
Yeah.
Well, I'm working on reinforcement learning, so
Oh.
because I think every decision is a sequence of decision, right?
Yeah, it feels
When-
like it. In
yeah.
real life,
That's
everything
true.
seems that way.
Yeah.
Even just turning my head or something, it's a sequence of each moment. Or,
Yeah. Because you hear the sound, then you turn your head, so it's a sequence of decision making.
Okay, so yeah, and when you talk in language, you're going each word into a sentence, each sentence into a paragraph. Is that also the same way to think about a sequence?
That's an excellent example. So reinforcement learning is based on markov decision process, which means that the next activity depends on the previous one, nothing to do with the history. So for the language processing, I think that is your interest area. They also use the markov decision process or the probabilities they are using is based on the previous one or the history to predict the next.
Awesome. Matt, can you look at, type in Markov models? So there's a really good example of the way you can think of this from like hopping from one node to another. Yeah, that would be like can you explain a hidden Markov model versus a regular Markov model?
I can only explain Markov decision process instead of hidden Markov model.
Gotcha.
But hidden Markov model do have the hidden layers that we don't understand the algorithm can learn. But Markov decision process means it have 5 different feature parts. One is called, so for example, we are in this environment. If I am an agent, I'm navigating in this new environment. So this apartment is environment. The second part is called the state. So we can think these, you don't have any. So we think of this floor as with different cells, and I'm in each cell. My action could be moving forward, backward, moving left hand, right hand side. So this is my action. And the transaction probability is the probability for me in the current cell go to the next cell. Either going forward, what's the probability for that? So that would be and then the reward is if I'm moving forward, there is no obstacle, so maybe positive reward. If I'm moving the backward, I hit somewhere, I feel the pain, that will be the negative reward. So that would be 5 parts of the Markov decision process.
Gotcha. And when you're talking about an agent, you're essentially thinking of a computer version of maybe a human or something that's a robot, something that's going to make these decisions.
Yes. So initially, I think a robot try to mimic human behavior. When we humans do a sequence of behavior or decisions, how can we train a robot to follow or mimic this kind of trajectory?
Gotcha.
I hope I explained clearly.
Yeah, no, that makes sense to me.
It does.
I got that. Yeah, you're making a decision to hop to the next node, or you're going back. You're either gaining points, you're losing points. This is how you're sort of training the machine to slowly go through this maze over and over again and figure out which is the optimal path.
Yeah. And also for the ad, I don't know whether you noted that or not. If you click that ad, next time it will show up again because you give the positive reward that you like that ad.
Oh, no, I've never thought about it that way. So an advertisement or clicking on a YouTube video or a Netflix video. So there's a Markov chain that I have added to the probabilities.
They're learning your preference based on your feedback.
And do I get paid for that?
I wish you could.
Aren't there other settings too where you can say not interested in this ad as well?
So you give the negative
all the
feedback.
time. So aren't there ads that you can click not interested in this ad as well, and that'll what does that do to the algorithm then?
Yeah, so the reward part have positive reward and a negative reward. When you say not interested means give them negative reward and they will not show up again. Yeah. Or the similar content will not show up again.
Okay.
I see. Yeah.
Very cool.
So we are training their system every day.
I know. It's weird to think about that because they're going to take over the world one day and we're going to train them, all these robots. Oh, yeah. So let's just explore some of the problems that they will solve. So I think a pretty common example is the advertisements. I think about the YouTube algorithm a lot and how I'm training that. But what are some of the other ways in the future and maybe in your lab, you're thinking about training these models. Like, what useful things will they do in the future?
Sure. So for I focus on the sensor data, the data from our smartwatches, smartphones, computers, anything with sensors. Even I guess you have sensors for your microphone.
Oh, maybe. These are pretty
Yeah.
old school, but they could. I have one of the Oura rings on, so
Oh,
that's
okay.
measuring my heart rate.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I can't get it off, man. I think my finger's all swollen up, but yeah, it's got a... So that Oura ring, I don't know how it actually measures. I guess infrared light, or maybe it measures blood pulse or something by seeing through the skin a little bit. But yeah, this tells me how I'm sleeping. I guess it knows movement, so if I'm wrestling around
Is that
or not.
connected to your device?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. You can look at if you look up Oura ring. I mean, there's a bunch of these smart rings out there. Do you have an Apple Watch?
No.
Do you have an Apple Watch?
I don't, but my
Oh.
lab has some.
What
Apple
device
Watch.
is that? What devices do you usually collect data from?
So usually we develop the
Matthew.
It popped up. It's my algorithm.
we usually develop the apps to collect the data that we are looking for. So usually so all the sensors from our phones, our smartwatch, it have the GPS data. But for indoor navigation, it's not helpful. The GPS is not good. But it also have the XYZ movement patterns that we can use, and the time steps as well. And sometimes, AI is not rely on itself. It also needs humans to help. So the apps will prompt questions like, what are you doing? Are you currently cooking or something? So that help the algorithm keep training and learning and modify or adapt to the environment. Yeah.
Okay, so you're pairing it with survey data, and that's helping you. What are some examples of questions you might ask? Like you said, are you cooking? What else would you be asking?
Or are you, even our phone, not in my lab, even our phones will automatically ask, are you in the driving, or are you driving or not?
driving mode?
Yeah.
Yep.
So these are all
Really?
these training the algorithm to learn. So they analyze our data from our phones or our smartwatches to detect or say activity recognize what we are doing now.
I see.
So in the future, if somebody's washing dishes, you might notice that the phone is in a certain place for a certain amount of time and correlate that, and then you think you can make a prediction if somebody is doing dishes or something like that?
That's an excellent example. We currently can do that, but we install sensor throughout the house. Then it can detect whether a person is wash dishes or not.
Like in the kitchen or something, right?
Yeah, and if your home is smart enough, your wash dish is smart wash dish, right? It can
and then it
automatically
will talk to it
yeah.
too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you at your home? Do you have a very smart home?
No, I don't. But I have
Why?
half.
Me too. I have a very dumb phone.
She's like, I'm
I have
smart.
part. My light system is smart. My
Okay.
voice system is smart, and yeah, that's it.
What's smart in your home? Yo.
My husband.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a smart doorbell?
Yep. I have
I
Ring.
guess we have the ring.
yeah, Matt's got
we have the
Ring.
Ring ADT like security system.
Why does
But
oh yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
my phone it'll tell me like I'll be sitting here and it's like X amount of minutes to home, and I'm like, I'm not even trying to go drive home now, but like, why is that? Why are they trying to tell me to go somewhere? Or
Good question.
you know, it doesn't have to be home, but work, stuff like that. Like, that's crazy.
Why does Matt's Ring always think that there's somebody in his backyard when there never is?
It's sensors.
I don't know. Maybe there's some dog or cat.
It's a bunch of cats.
Maybe 50 times a day it says there's something there, and we check nothing.
Well, he mentioned there is cats, right? Many cats.
Do you think it's cats?
Maybe.
Maybe. False alarms. But he needs it to say negative. He needs to train it that it's
Yeah.
wrong, you know?
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say when the wind blows, it says that someone's knocking on my door. But my bushes are like blowing in the wind.
Yeah.
And it gets
and then
confused.
the camera will tell me like someone's at the door, someone's at the front door.
Well,
And you're like,
yeah, and it's like 5 feet away. So I don't know if that's just anticipating the movement and just
Yeah.
It's just
antennas,
sensors. Yeah.
But yeah.
Why is computer vision sometimes so smart and sometimes so stupid? Like sometimes it's obviously wrong and the computer should know.
Because it's challenging, both for sensors or computer vision. For example, for computer vision, we train an algorithm can recognize a plastic bag here. Maybe you put something here. Now, if a plastic bag is flying on the street, It's harder to recognize. We human can recognize, but algorithm maybe think it's a deer or something like that.
Or human, yeah.
Yeah. And even for sensor data, sometimes because of the sensor failure, like battery issues or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, and sometimes maybe animals, who knows, right? Yeah, so this kind of noise will cause the difficulty or challenging to train an algorithm.
So why is a human able to see the plastic bag in the wind or sitting there and know it's different? Is it because we were trained to see it, or is it because our brains are actually different?
Of course, our brains and algorithms are different. Yeah, I agree with you. I think the main reason is when we train an algorithm, we need to extract the characteristics or properties of an object. Of subject or object. So when we talk about, I don't know, orange juice, you have?
Is that orange juice? Karen, what is that, by the way? You almost put it in a wine glass. So what is it?
Magic mango.
It's 9 billion bacteria.
No,
it's a
I cannot
kombucha.
distinguish.
Kombucha.
It's a kombucha.
Kombucha.
But yes, it's a mango
Yes.
kombucha.
It's okay.
Okay.
Orange juice, same thing.
Nobody would know
No.
though.
Yeah. I recognize it only because of the color and maybe the time is evening.
Yeah.
I guess you are drinking these.
But we just corrected because like
Yes.
a
that
machine
sounds
learning model,
funny.
we just updated you.
Yeah, that's exactly.
And now you know.
Yeah, but we need to tell the machine like the property, like the color.
Yeah.
It's yellow, I guess.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's liquid. So these kind of properties will help us describe an object, then train a machine. But sometimes this kind of description is not enough. I only have two features. We call this kind of thing as features. One is color, one is the liquid, but maybe not enough for to help me understand what kind of drink she's having.
Right. So then the machine would ask again, is that orange juice again?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
So in that case, if you misclassified it, would you want to go back and teach the machine more features? Would you say smell or sound or something else?
Yeah, we definitely can design more features to understand the object. But we can also use humans, like you are correcting me, right? So that is also called semi-supervised learning. That means we have limited data with the labels, but a lot of data without label, like this has no label. I don't know what kind of juice it is. But if I label it, then a human will step in to correct me. So that is semi-supervised learning. And a very popular one is called active learning. Yeah.
Gotcha. So in the future, do you think a good job people should be doing when they get done with college is labeling data?
I don't think so.
For the future?
They may can develop systems like the website to ask people to label data, but I don't think they will do label.
So not a good
Framework.
career path to be a data labeler?
I think
to-
labeling data is challenging. They need a domain experts to label this data.
Yeah.
So I think it's need a lot of training to do that.
Okay. Maybe a better career path would be to be able to build a simulation, and then you can train the computer faster than
My
just being a
gosh.
manual labeler.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
Easy.
Easy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if somebody is graduating college right now and they're interested in machine learning, what skills do you think they should be going for? Like, what are jobs of the future?
Sure. I think there are future for like machine learning engineer, research scientist, applied scientist. I'm sure in your company there are a lot of these kind of roles, as well as different researchers in different organizations. I think one thing is passion for the field. That's very important to dive deep into any subject we're studying. Yeah.
Yeah, because it seems like machine learning could be a fun thing to be passionate about because you can simply apply it to whatever you actually are passionate about, right? If you like baseball, there's sports science that you can work in. If you like housing or real estate, then there's plenty of things that you can slowly add to different industries in.
Yes.
Yeah, it seems like a good plan.
Do you think that machines can learn entertainment?
Yeah.
How to entertain? Like, I really enjoy going to live theater, and one of my jobs is I get to perform in front of children and interact and engage with them. And I do see children have tablets and, learning games and stuff like that, but is there something that might connect those two, like me physically being there, that a machine can learn to do to entertain the children?
Let me repeat to make sure I understand your
no
question
problem.
fully.
Yeah.
You mean can machine to design these kind of shows
Yeah.
to satisfy their needs or meet their needs?
Yeah, is that possible?
I think we are on the way to getting there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure currently we get there or not. But for example, making music, I don't know who is making music here.
Who makes music here? I don't know.
I mean,
no, I don't make music.
Okay,
I wish I
but
made music.
I sing.
Yeah.
oh,
Okay, but we could
so-
pretend. Yeah, someone who plays the guitar or something.
Okay. Now we can train a machine to produce the music based on the input music or the sample we are given.
Yeah. Okay, so
So-
children's music for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Maybe projections or something, like in those movies with like the old 2000 movies when they think, it's
Oh,
gonna
when it
be-
pops up, you
when
mean
it,
like
pops
Star Wars
up.
style?
Yeah, like a Star
Oh,
Wars.
holograms? Have you done a
Holograms,
machine
that's what
learning
they're
hologram?
called. Yeah.
No, I haven't.
You bring up some
Ooh.
cool holograms, Matt. That'd be fun. We could program them to do that.
Yeah.
This is a popular
Okay, so I guess that's a good question. What are some of the other kinds of problems you think machine learning is good? Oh, like that?
Yeah. Like
You could
would
make
that be
machine
a
learning make
normal?
that for us?
I think they can do that.
Wow.
So we could, you could have a dance for a big concert.
I think they have that with Freddie Mercury. They went with Queen and they had him as a hologram, and yeah, there it is.
That's a hologram?
So that's not a hologram.
No,
He's
yeah,
alive.
Oh.
He's real. He's real.
Who knows anymore? I never know.
But they have Freddie Mercury dancing and singing, and it's just incredible.
Oh, okay. Yeah, here he is.
So if your lab is very successful over the next 5 years, how will you change homes?
Change homes into
Right,
smart
because you're
homes.
working on smart homes as a priority, right?
I work on smart environment, home building, and the city.
Ah,
Oh, so bigger than a home. So you
Yeah.
think about it from a city point of view? Like how traffic works and how people flow and all of that?
Yeah,
Okay, so if you are very successful, what will be different
I
about
hope
the
so
future?
one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, currently, because if I understand correctly, Vegas trying to transit into a smart city by 2050 instead of a Sin City. So I hope,
that's very.
Sin City to
Thank you.
Smart City?
yeah,
Okay.
that's my understanding. But feel free to correct me.
No, yeah. works for me.
So I hope we are all together to building it up. So currently, I hope after 5 years we can reach half of that goal.
Oh,
Yeah.
so a smart
Ooh.
sin.
Are you allowed
I don't
to
know.
say?
Yeah.
Are you allowed to say what might be like one step forward, like into that progression?
Yeah,
so,
paint us a picture. I like that
Yes.
question. What will the smart city look like?
So currently, one of the most recent project is about the self-driving cars and the safety for the tourisms, because there's so many people walking around, and a lot of people, 50% of the tourists come here by driving. And the 15% driving by the rental car. So around the 65% of people are driving, but they are not familiar with the road environment. So the driving
No.
was crazy, right?
Yeah.
I would feel scared while walking around. So we are doing this kind of trajectory detection. Can we detect this kind of the walking trajectory of the people as well as the driving trajectory of these cars and avoid any accident? So I think currently Vegas is some part smart. Like if I go to the parking garage, it will tell me that all the lights on, either green or red,
Yeah.
right? So
Where this
it's working on it. Yeah.
Yeah, getting all these old
cool.
things to be more smart
Yes.
and talk to the internet.
Yeah.
Do you think would you feel safer if all the cars right now were angry cabbies or early versions of self-driving cars? What's safer?
I feel it's better human work with AI together.
Good
Um,
answer.
I'm sure AI is intelligent, but it's better while we supervise it occasionally
Okay.
instead of fully rely on it. That's maybe we will get there at some point. Yeah.
Gotcha. And do you drive it? Do you drive a Tesla with the self-driving?
I cannot
Oh, you don't
afford it, so
Oh, okay. Have you
Not
yet.
played with it before?
no, I don't. But we do.
Have you been in a self-driving car?
We do have a lab at UNLV with this kind of self-driving car in the lab. So our goal is to moving this lab environment to the real life environment
Right.
for the
Wow.
self-driving car. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like it would make a lot of sense. These people come from the airport and then they get in a
Right.
self-driving
Yeah.
car and they just drive around, you know?
Yeah.
Drives for you.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. Yeah, one of those. Okay, so paint me more. So you would be controlling maybe this. Do you think the stoplights would be better off if a machine learning model decided when green and red?
I think currently some part of the traffic lights already embedded this kind of system.
Oh, yeah?
So maybe next time we can pay attention to it when you stop, when it's red light, waiting, see how long you would wait for it. Usually it detect like it's a long line in the waiting for it. Maybe it will cut into short. So it will go to green immediately or very soon.
Really? Is that a
Yeah.
camera watching how many cars are there? Or is that something bigger than that?
There are sensors installed throughout. So next time when you are driving around, pay
Oh.
attention to it. So you see around the traffic light, there is a box next to it, right?
Yeah.
So the boxes are using the sensors communicate with everywhere. And even on the road, we cannot see here, but on some road, if you see the lines there, the rectangle lines, actually there are sensors there, they detect a lot of information.
Interesting. Yeah. What about, is there a machine learning model that could detect cheating on a gambling table? If somebody was playing 21 and they did a sleight of hand, could a camera notice that?
I haven't studied that area, but there is a gaming institution at UNLV. They may not focus on that area. They focus on how to help people gambling in a reasonable way instead of over expanding. Yeah, maybe next time you can invite them.
Or do you think, or the other way, to get them to spend more money?
I don't know, but I don't
Like
know.
advertisements? Yeah, I'm sure somebody's thought about if machine learning could make them money somehow. Stock market gambling? Do you
Yeah.
think a machine can make money on the stock market?
So current stock market have been employing machine learning for a while. I'm not sure. I think it's. I only know friends working at these kind of companies. They do machine learning, but I don't know how we individuals to earn money based on that. Yeah.
I see. Yeah, we need our own software.
Yeah.
We need our own lab to build something like that.
Yeah.
What other thoughts do you have? Any other questions?
Very cool. Does that mean that the environment, if it's a more, say, higher tech smart environment, does that take away biological life, plants, like animals? How does that affect that?
Let me repeat again to make sure I understand
Yeah.
fully. So you mean how the machine learning affect the real life?
Environment, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Like
guessing
plant.
like when you plant or trim
Yeah,
or
just natural life, any birds that, may be flying or
Yeah.
anything.
That's a very good point. There are machine learning algorithms like inverse reinforcement learning to study the birds flying like from south to north during the
Oh.
different season change. And there are machine learning applied to the plants like how much water we should doing every day and how many
wow.
times.
So it could improve
Yes.
the environment as a
Yeah.
whole.
Yeah. And for agriculture as well. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
can it fix our drought problem? Machine learning? Can it fix water?
Well, I haven't dived deep into that, but we do have the water expertise working on these kind of problems. So what they do, one problem is if we want to have this kind of ground truth data for the water, then the problem is like we need to collect lots of data, right?
Yeah.
We need to send a lot of experts to this kind of location or lakes to continue collecting this data. Now, one question is with limited sample data, how can we train a machine learning algorithm? So that is what current researchers have been
Because if you point a camera at all of the lakes,
yeah.
could you tell it how high it is? Or maybe a device like a LoRa device could
sensor.
measure the depth of the water and then that could tell the machine all the time?
I think
or
we can
more
do
than
that.
or maybe flow through pipes and stuff like that, because water's flowing throughout all these pipes,
Yes,
right? And
yes.
do you know anybody that's measuring all of that and trying to reroute the water or sewage or anything like that?
I did a similar project, but maybe not exactly. So one project we worked on is during the summertime, the temperature was getting very hot. Now the concern is the fish in the river or the lake maybe run away because of the high temperature,
The
right?
fish are going to run away from the high temperature?
How could you stay there when they're boiling?
I know. We try to get away from hot temperature. Yeah, why not? Swim away.
Yeah,
Okay.
so the question is how much
Yeah.
water should we release from the dam to cool down the temperature in the lake so that we can keep the fish
interesting.
inside of the lake?
Wow.
So you could train the machine learning model on how many gallons go in and how the temperature changes, and then eventually it will figure out the right pattern
Yes.
based on other variables like the temperature,
Yes.
outside temperature or time of the month or something like that,
Yeah,
time of the year. Wow, yeah, these
So
are
it's
cool, interesting
everywhere.
things. Yeah, I've never thought about that.
I would love to learn about like medicine and like I don't know if the Apple Watch goes into this. I don't own an Apple Watch, so I don't know. But overconsumption, obesity, can machine learning maybe teach us portion control or what nutrients we need in our body? Maybe if we may be deficient in something, do we need to go to a doctor one day, or one day will that be a machine telling us?
Yeah, that's a very interesting area, especially for early detection of these kind of symptoms or diseases. It's because if we go to doctor, if we don't feel well, go to see the doctor, usually it's the later status, not the early status. So can we use this kind of data to do early detection?
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. And another topic will be the personalized medicine. Is because different ethnicity or different population group may have different needs for the medicine. Yeah.
Oh, that's incredible. So there's people learning that right now in labs, and wow, that is so incredible.
So I've heard about the Google project called, what is it called? Alpha Zero? Is that the one that it's messing with? They're predicting the shape of proteins. Do you know that project?
I don't know that, but you can tell me more.
Okay, no,
AlphaZero's chess.
No, AlphaZero is the chess game, isn't it? Yeah. Type in DeepMind and then protein folding.
I think DeepMind is also chess. Oh no, it's not.
That's a group inside of Google that works with machine learning, but protein. Oh, AlphaFold. Yeah, that's what it's called. You can go to the YouTube page for this, but yeah. But they were able to, so protein folding is a very complicated problem, and there's been some projects where they were kind of outsourcing it, using like knowledge of the crowd to try to fold these. But yeah, they had a big breakthrough with AlphaFold, and now they've been able to do drug discovery. And this was a great use of machine learning, and it's going to help us get lots of drugs and like much faster in the future that we need. Okay, so let's talk about relationships with people. Do you like the way machine learning is implemented in social networks? Do you think that's a good way to bring people together?
I personally think so. I do think technology bring us closer. We can do video chat. We can do remote working. We can ping anyone at any time when we feel like it. And especially currently, like remote teaching, remote working, I think we benefit a lot from it. If without technology, I don't know how can we survive from this pandemic. Everyone stay at home, everyone lose their jobs, so that will be challenging. But with technology, people can do the Lyft or Uber driver, delivery, grocery shopping, delivery. Because of all these, they get their income again. So I think technology is really help us. Yeah.
So some people that are worried about technology in the future displacing too many jobs or hurting people, giving people too much power, they often say that the same way a hammer can be used as a weapon or as a tool, we need to think about machine learning as either a tool or a weapon, just depending on whose hands it's in. Does that seem like a fair analogy to you, or does it seem like machine learning might be more different and powerful in a way that we shouldn't think of it like that?
I think everything has the pros and cons. And for example, one good part for machine learning is if I am a taxi driver, I may only go to the area with the largest traffic flow or people, right? I may never visit any area like very rural area in Henderson or something, I don't know.
Nope.
But people there still needed a taxi to get somewhere. So how could the people there get any help, right? So maybe that was when I came here, I don't have a car when I just moved here. I will chat with my Lyft driver. I'm like, how could you pick up me in 2 minutes? She told me that because the app told her that if she could stay in that area for 30 minutes, she will be paid extra money.
Wow.
So that is actually machine learning or AI is training I cannot say training the driver. It's helping people in the rural area also get all the services they need. So I think they're helping us in a better way.
Yeah, I know you said you couldn't say training the driver, but in some sense, aren't we in sort of a symbiotic relationship where the machines do train us to be better, right? And so we train them and they train us back. So it doesn't seem like it's just one thing and we're always in charge. They kind of shape society, right?
Yes, they are. My smart speaker now is well trained by me, but it's also training me. One thing is I think they are training people how to talk nicely. So if I
be very polite to your Alexa.
If you are nice to your smart speaker, it will say thank you, right? So they are training me to be
nice.
They are training me as well.
One example I always liked is years ago, a lot of people were making YouTube videos where they would do pranks, right? They would scare people or bother them, and they were getting lots of views. And of course, YouTube wants lots of views, so they were starting to go up higher. But there was a backlash, and people, were saying YouTube should probably step in and stop this because it's creating a lot of environments where people feel harassed. Yeah. So they trained and labeled all of the videos that they had that were the kind of pranks that make people upset versus the kind of pranks where you give somebody money or you surprise them with a reward. And the machines started taking those, giving them more views, giving less views to the kind of pranks that are annoying. And now you'll notice that because people who upload content want more views, they started doing nice pranks. Like Mr. Beast is a good example of a beneficiary because he was giving away money and like rewarding people, and then they gave him all the views, and then everybody learned. So it's interesting. YouTube changed the way that we view media, but that was a strategic choice, but then it also changed other people. And I always thought that was an interesting symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, that's an excellent example. I think it's very good.
Yeah. So how have the machines trained you?
They train me very well now.
To be very polite.
Well, I think I'm polite, but just they are. I'm maybe their guinea pig again. like they are training us for free, right? So they automatically employ some new algorithm. Suddenly they start training me. They say thank you to me. So yeah.
Do you feel like your technology has shaped the way you live?
Absolutely. Yeah, technology. Actually, I was just talking about this the other day. But yeah, when you were talking about how social media or like the videos were showing that a lot of negativity was getting a lot of views, whenever I see something like a fight or, something very negative, I get very anxious. And it really it hurts my subconscious, like anxiety. I have anxiety disorder, so it's highly affected by even social media and how they say refreshing on Instagram is like pumping the
slot machine.
Slot machine, yeah.
Oh,
so I feel like that almost also gave me like an anxiety of fear of missing out, right? Like, oh, this experience is happening and I'm not there, but I can see it because of this, network, but I don't know. I think it shaped me in a way where now I'm learning I don't want to use it too much anymore because it kind of knows shopping sprees. It knows exactly what I want to shop on Amazon or, whatever clothing brand will come up. I'm like, oh, I need new clothes. The school season's coming, and they know it and they put it in my brain, and then I'll think about it a couple days.
I know.
Oh, yeah, maybe. And then I end up buying a bunch of unnecessary items that I might not have spent my money on if I was just in the store or at the mall walking down, the outdoor mall. So
is there a risk that the types of things machine learning are controlling in entertainment are going to become too smart and maybe prey on some of our addictive qualities to the point where we are sort of victims of it? Or do you think we have a responsibility to know how it works and fight back? Or what's your kind of thought about the way it can get into our mind?
One thing is when I use when I open website, when it's well suited to my preference, sometimes I want to explore a little bit all the different things instead of only focus on my preference. So I think they also add some random stuff there. If we can pay attention next time to our YouTube page, when you open it, I think a majority of them fit my preference. But also there are some random things that maybe never showed up in my reference. So it's help explore to see what other things they can push further to explore other areas of our interest.
Do you think that's a human pattern? Because in my life, and it seems like everyone I know is sort of similar in the sense that most of the time, say 95% of the time, I will be in one of, say, 10 locations, like either at work or at the gym or in some kind of pattern. But then 5% of the time, I go off to like Hawaii or Florida or a vacation. Is that a pattern that all humans have? Are we sort of 95% we want what we know, and then every once in a while we just want to be surprised?
I'm not sure if it's general or not, but one study in human behavior is based on the long tail distribution. That means in general we have this kind of regular pattern, but sometimes we have long tail. That means we have data falling in the tail of the distribution, have some
long tail. Yeah, Matt,
behavior.
can you bring? Oh yeah, you got the line number. You got it there. Yeah, but it would normally be like on a bell curve, right? Or is that what you consider long tail distribution?
So long tail distribution, for example, regularly I usually reply email very quickly.
Most of the area would be in the top, and then once in a while we go far out on the tails.
Very frequently, high frequent falling in this part, and the long tail is low frequent, but it happens.
So do you model this in for human behavior? It seems like location-wise, I would be following that pattern most of the time at work, then sometimes on vacation.
Yeah, we do modeling these, and there's some pioneers proposed a human dynamic based on the long tail distribution. I think back to 2005 or something. Yeah, so that is a research area they're currently working on for human behavior.
Oh, that's awesome. Human dynamic wise, what other studies have interested you? Like, have you, or maybe not even human dynamic, like what studies have just fascinated you in the past? Like what cool things have you learned in the last 5 or 10 years that?
What cool things I have learned?
Yeah, like you probably share them with your students or caught you off guard or taught you about yourself. Any interesting studies or professors or scientists, researchers?
Maybe one of my recent projects, which we also sent out a paper, is about when we have this kind of audio data. Well, we can use that for a lot of different purposes. But one of our goal is, can we help people with hearing difficulty when they are like either indoor or outdoor, whether the environment detected based on the audio data, whether the environment is good for mobility or not. So people have hearing difficulty, people who have mobility difficulty may benefit from that. So I think this is how we use technology to help us live in a better life.
Interesting. Yeah. If you were at iRobot and you had data from all of the vacuums that go around all of the houses, how would you use that data?
I do have an iRobot, but I don't have the data that navigating.
You should get paid for the iRobot.
I paid by myself to buy it. So I do have iRobot to do all the floor cleaning. And I think it's very smart. It's doing really good job. Yeah.
Yeah, but I just think about all because they say that Amazon bought the iRobot because they wanted to see the layout of everybody's
No way.
houses. But what
I don't
value would
know.
Amazon have knowing the
gosh.
shape of our house?
What we
I
need in
don't
our
know.
house. Right?
Maybe
To make it a smarter house.
carpets.
You don't
or-
have an Alexa there? You
Yeah.
need an Alexa there. Like,
Do you have an Alexa? Do you talk to Siri?
I have Google Home.
Google Home?
Yeah.
And you feel the privacy policy is okay? You talk to it and feel like it's not spying on you?
I sometimes just unplug it.
it has to be listening, right? In case you say it, it has to
If
be
you touch it,
listening.
you feel the heat, right? You feel it's hot, right? So it's functioning.
Oh my god! No.
But I think they are very careful. All the companies are very
Okay.
careful for privacy issues. So I don't think you need to worry.
Okay.
It just
I
sometimes.
don't worry. There's nothing I need to hide, really.
Yeah.
I always tell, like, my
No.
dad is very skeptical. He's like, I don't want anyone listening to anything. You know, he's closing his phone. He's making sure everything is, like, far away because he's scared of, you know, the
Yeah.
progression of technology. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, you
Yeah.
can hear my conversations. But then, again, I'll
It
be
is weird,
caught
though,
on
yeah.
the shopping spree.
Because you know,
and
20 years ago,
steal
if
my
they were
money.
like, in the future, we'll walk around with a little device. It'll share with companies what we're saying, where we are. They'd be like, nobody would want that. And we're like,
But
oh,
is
we do.
there- Is there a like any company that you feel like pretty safe with that to share your, or it's just all the same? Do you think just machine learning companies like, you know, Apple versus Samsung or whatever, like any system that's preferable to you?
I prefer build up my own system that I can
Yeah?
use for my own home.
You just got to make your own. See,
Anybody else?
we totally care. You got to make your own phone. They care a phone.
Man,
Don't
I'm
get
not
Apple
smart
or
enough for
Google.
that. I'll pay you for it. Like, you could be making so much
Then
money.
she'll take your data. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we
I'm
all.
sure they have very good privacy system and
Mm.
they have an excellent team to working on that. Yeah.
Do you?
Absolutely.
So
Sure.
if it's valuable for a company like Amazon to have data about our floor, if it's valuable for a company like Siri to know how we talk to the phone and Amazon what we buy, this is all value to them. Is there any future where maybe they pay us enough money by just living to have some kind of universal basic income that comes in exchange for the data? Like, could you imagine a world where we share the food we eat and what we buy, and in exchange we get enough money to survive?
Yeah, we can be the volunteer or guinea pig for their experiments, right?
Yeah. Would that
so-
pay enough? Yeah, be the
Yeah.
guinea pig.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could we be
Pigs.
yeah,
Yeah.
rats in a cage for them?
Yeah, we can do that maybe.
Oh, that'd be
Because right now
fun.
we fill out the CAPTCHAs and we drive cars and we do all these things and we don't get paid.
But they also make our life in a better way, right?
Yeah. They
So
do.
I think they
Yeah.
also provide the
Yeah.
value to our
Absolutely.
life.
So there
It's
might
all
not
about
be a
money,
future
doesn't it?
where you could make money doing nothing.
I don't know. Maybe you email them or reach out to them, see
Yeah.
if
We
they are
wanna
willing to do
start
that
a
or not.
commune, and
Yeah.
we're just gonna have our little community
Right.
where we
Put
yeah.
an EKG on, just share your brain thoughts all day long. They pay you, you know?
Okay.
Maybe reach out to them.
Maybe reach out,
She's like,
reach
you
out.
do it, not me.
What are some of the ways that the human brain learns and your systems learn that might be similar or might be different?
Sure. So I'm trying to build up a system that can mimic or intimate human behavior or human brain's way to process the information. So my system can think as just a 1-year-old baby, while we humans, we're already adults, right? We're well trained. We're training how many years? Decades, right? To learn everything. And we have this ability and capacity to handle a lot of things. But my system needs to train a lot of data and the time to get used to it. So let's go back to the juice.
Yeah.
So if I am the system with the 1-year-old baby age for
Yeah.
my system, I cannot recognize what kind of juice it is. But after maybe training for 2 years, 3 years, or a lot of features or data, then it will recognize it.
Wow.
So that's a similar thing that we are all mimic human behavior to recognize different stuff and handle different things. And also the difference is we'll keep training it. Yeah.
Right. And what's the limiting factor right now? Is it the data or the computation or the features or the actual way the models does back propagation or trains? What's the limiting factor right now that's making it so that your system acts more like a 1-year-old than a 30-year-old?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So currently, one is about data. Although we have massive amount of data everywhere, one is the high quality data is very limited. Another is when we focus on the personalized system, the my data is limited. How can train my data to get excellent results? Or if we focus on specific group like ethnic group or for example, I think we have a large Hispanic population here, but we have very limited data from this population. It will be very hard for us to train and learn their behavior patterns or their situations. So data challenging is one thing currently we are focusing on.
Gotcha. As far as your research career goes, what do you know now that you didn't know when you started on this path? And what would you have told like a younger version of yourself?
Younger self or myself?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just I think a lot of things happened that we did not it's unpredictable. My initial degree was in mathematics. I changed to computer science in 2015 or 16. When I was taking a computer science course at that time, I think that's very interesting. Then I switched the major. I don't know. I just feel whatever happened in life, do the best you can.
Gotcha.
And you will always benefit from it, right? So
yeah. What made the switch? Was it the job opportunities that you saw in the future or the future applications?
I think it's very interesting. My first computer science course was in machine learning, in reinforcement learning at that time. So I think that's very interesting. While we train the robots, the unmanned aircraft system, they have a lab to build all these kind of the UAVs and how to train it to fly it. I think it's very interesting. So I switched the major.
Okay, and because if you were still doing mathematics, you just don't see it as interesting of a life?
Well, mathematics is very interesting. And the one thing is, how can I use it to the real life applications? I think a lot of machine learning, deep learning relies on strong math background. And this, I think, is a benefit to my current research.
Okay, yeah, because I noticed you are hiring postdocs right now, right, for your lab, and you, at least online, you were requiring high mathematical capabilities.
Yeah, I'm actively recruiting students, and I do prefer students have some math background and a coding background and hardworking. Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, I think that would be pretty fun. Okay, so are you interested in eventually augmenting your brain directly with a future machine learning system to increase your intelligence, productivity, and knowledge? Like in the future, are you willing to do something like Neuralink and plug in directly so that you can share with Silicon your thoughts?
I guess if I can do that at that time, it's already very mature. So if it's very mature, I'd be happy to try. Yeah. Well, maybe at that time you can also try as well.
Would you plug in? It'd probably be a small surgery and they would put something in your head and then you could Google with just thinking, essentially?
Probably not. I don't know. I don't think so. I think that would be a little too far for me.
Matthew, what's your thoughts?
Oh, probably not, man. Look at this, dude. You're going to put this thing in my head?
Neuralink? Are you a fan of
It'll save me 3 seconds.
Neuralink?
I can just pull out my phone to Google.
It looks like a cochlear implant almost.
Yeah, I think you roll your eye back, right? And they put it on the top of your eye. Oh, that's the one that goes in.
Dude, it still sounds bad, man. Look at that. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
You're not into it? And these are the early days. It'll be better in the future. More mature.
I can't look at anything with blood.
Man.
I can't look at it.
Do you feel like there's an argument that the computers will become so advanced that if we don't do this, we'll just not be able to keep up and feel like lesser species, kind of? Like the machines will know so much about us, we won't have a lot of decisions to make. They'll control our decisions.
Oof. I think as human or individual, we always develop the critical thinking abilities, right? When people tell us something, we also always critical thinking instead of just agree with something. I think that is something will help us to keep moving forward as a human.
Do you believe in free will, or do you think that the brain is in such a way that with enough computation you could predict what everybody would do and think at all times?
Currently, we do have very advanced machine learning algorithms, or it's very well applied to different areas. But I think it's not very, very mature currently. It's still on the way to go there. But we are humans. Your critical thinking ability is unique that no one else can compete. That's my thoughts. Yeah.
So no one else can compete, but do you believe in free will at the end of the day? Like, do you think you make a decision, or do you think the decision is pre-made by the way our brains are wired?
I think it's both. Like sometimes because we have a lot of experience, or we are already trained for decades, so we maybe make some quick decisions very immediately. But for some large decisions, we needed to calm down for several days to think through. So I think it's both. Yeah.
What, do you think that we'll be able to predict a criminal in the future, or somebody who's going to do a crime before they do it?
So for crime detection, I think there are a lot of researchers currently working on it. One concern is about the bias and the fear. So we call it as fairness AI. It's because the data we trained is only focused on specific group. Then it will cause a bias problem for the algorithm.
Yeah.
So I think researchers currently are very careful when do this kind of prediction, because we want to create a world without bias. We want it to be fair to everyone, regardless of their ethnicity, gender, or age.
Absolutely.
So that is all of us currently working on. And the people are very careful when they do the crime detection.
Yeah, I'm sure that's really hard to with any data set to make sure that it's a balance of whatever you want. Because I would like the idea of a car in the future that couldn't drive into a person. You know, just simply if you step on the gas and there's somebody in front of the car, it just doesn't go. Because it could detect that, right? So we couldn't injure someone with a car?
You mean how to avoid the accident?
Yeah, and stemming from that, all sorts of things that could hurt people. Like a drone couldn't fly into somebody, or a gun couldn't fire if it was pointed at somebody who wasn't committing a crime, I guess. Like, can we teach all of the systems to keep us safe in the future?
I hope so. That's, I think, all of us are trying to working on to provide a safe environment. Yeah.
And do you believe all of this should be open sourced and put onto GitHub, or do you think that there should be systems in place so that some of this doesn't go online? Or how do you feel about the open source nature of it?
I personally really like open source. So even my lab, I think all the code are pushed to the GitHub account for others to use, and also for other students to reproduce the results as well. And I'm sure some part cannot be published on open source for some part of research or study. For example, the data privacy issues or something. But I personally really like the open source community, which also helped me a lot. And I benefit from it,
Yeah, do you think machine learning can be used for hackers? And if so, is there systems in place to, stop us from that?
So,
Or also for data protection. I guess machine learning on both sides, right?
Right. There are a lot of... So I don't know, when I'm using, for example, when I'm using my Gmail or when I'm using my UNLV email account, my Gmail will automatically filter some emails to the junk account or spam. Yeah. Well, my UNLV account don't have any spam email at all.
Oh no, what's your UNLV account look like? Is it all spam?
No, there's no spam email at all.
Oh, then how do they do it?
Because they already help us they have a team to handle these kind of attacks. So or the hackers.
Yeah.
So they have a team to help with that.
Because every time I put something in the junk folder, I'm teaching the machine, right?
Yeah.
We're training it once again, like the CAPTCHAs and the driving and all of that.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Wow. Do you know anybody that's can you imagine a machine learning model that could help prevent asteroids, nuclear wars, global warming? Like, is there any way you could apply this to some of the big threats that humanity faces?
There are a lot of researchers working on the global warming with machine learning. And I know one of my friends, also the second year assistant professor, he got a 1.2 million grant in his first year for the global warming from NSF. So
how's he doing? Do you think he can solve it?
They are working on it, yeah. So that's a current project they help you working on. Yeah.
Well, global warming has so many strange variables. I mean, predicting the weather or knowing if like a coral reef dies, how it affects the entire ocean and eventually the human food chain. It just seems like something only a computer could eventually get their head around. It would be hard for a human to really understand all of those variables.
Yeah.
Tell us, I guess, just all about what you care about, your project, what's happening at UNLV, anything you want to promote, like a paper you've written or recruit someone, anything you want to say?
Okay. No worries. Yeah, I think I'm good. I'm currently recruiting students, that's true. And we currently working on different areas as well, more based on all sensor data.
Is it hard? Like, is there enough students learning machine learning, or do you feel like they need more?
I do have several students working on different projects. Of course, the more the better, right?
Yeah.
But also means I need more funding to support them as well. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate you coming out.
Thank you so much.
This was really fun, and we really appreciate you just taking time to explain all this to us. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.